Not so long ago, you might have seen me having this rant. Libbi was expected to launch late February in the UK, but will now be delayed approximately 8 weeks. We have dozens of these Libbis booked in to install, so it's caused us a real headache. But there's a reason I have a huge smile on my face, because the Libbis have finally arrived. Except there's a catch. Of all the days they could have been delivered, they had to be delivered the day before I go on holiday. But as this is a huge step for us, we've pulled out all the stops and drafted in a replacement to help us out.
Hey, it's Corey. I'm back, and I thought I'd show you how to install the Libbi. Let's get into it. MyEnergi aren't actually open yet. They don't open until 9 o'clock, which is why I usually like arriving at 9:30 so all the technical lines are open. See? Everything for a purpose. Yeah, MyEnergi aren't open yet, but we just need to find out, just ask Jordan what the grid approval here is. One thing you've got to be careful with, I don't know this from experience because no one really has experience with these batteries because they've only just come out last week and I've only just installed one of them. Check the video below. But
shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Can we just cut to the channel trailer right about here? The whole thing, all 2 minute 40 of it. I read the instruction manual cover to cover a couple of times, and there's a section on page 19 where it says if you are via G100, then you need to hardwire your CTs directly to the Libbi. It can't go wirelessly via another device. I think they're working on changing that. I need to find out what the grid approval is before we can figure out exactly how to wire it.
How much do you trust these handles?
I'm going underneath.
Okay,
I'm not going to handle. Oh mate, that van's so flipping nice. It's gorgeous. Oh mate.
Not that bad.
Flipping heck, boys on the roids.
I thought you was just gonna
no mate, I'm not.
bosh it in one.
Whoa.
Hey, my biceps like half the size of it. Have you got your oil electrical underwear on?
This is gonna... Come on. If Corey was still here, we'd still be getting Just Eat every lunch.
What do you think I'm doing today?
Have you been gym this morning?
Yeah. Oh, he was on camera, he's feeling brave. Where's it? Luke's just like, yeah, go on, Lee, you do that one.
Oh, these are well light.
These must be the inverters.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look at this. I feel most of this audience of artisans and artisan fans probably already know exactly what this is and they've probably seen it already. But this is MyEnergi basically. I've gone into the battery inverter space and they are crushing it. I've only installed one of them, but it was beautiful and you're about to see. These stack up, you're only allowed to stack 2 of them though, so you can see they've already marked it out, which is, these guys are so flipping organised. Lee and Luke.
This was the most scariest day of my career so far. Just socket light.
Wait, have we got a hard hat?
I nearly died.
I have.
I think we need a hard hat. Wait a minute. This battery's come 25% charged and I didn't have any live work gloves on. Thumbnail material, almost died off this battery. I'm training from Artisan basically because you see my channel's not really grown much recently. It's kind of stagnated a little bit if I'm being honest. So I feel the way to grow it is to nearly die in every episode.
They're heavy.
That's mad. These lines. These lines are the same size as the battery.
It's almost like someone measured it out.
That's wicked. What are the chances? So basically, I think we were right. This place is on a G100, so it's got an export limit. I'm trying to find out from Jordan what the export limit is, because obviously we'll have to establish that and set that up into the system. But I think for now, he's happy to proceed with the CTs being wired to the Zappy. Basically, the batteries just literally sit on the floor. These handles will come off. These 2 grub screws will go into there. We mark up the wall there and we just screw straight into it.
We can work off of the batteries, can't we? We can put the trunk in, isolators, work backwards almost.
Once you've seen one, you'll have absolutely no problems. They're not complicated at all. go. So you got to get them all bang on, lined up. It's about a mil out.
Yeah, let's the backing board up.
I don't think it's worth packing it though. No. Right, so for this, it's exactly the same process. I've got the hacks. I'm having a horrendous hair day today. I woke up at like 4:45 to get here, and my hair was not awake yet. Yeah, just like it's really hard to line it up. Bang on. If we put a few penny washers behind the actual bracket, that will lift it off a couple mil, won't it? I reckon that you could jump off the van and land on them if you make a bed out of them. I reckon we do a death jump.
Are you going to do it? Look at all that money.
Yeah, if you do it. What's that? Purely for OCD sake, nothing really to do with function. I found because this floor is not bang on smooth, you could just see a bit of a lip. So I'm going to try and put a couple of penny washers behind there, because even just adjusting these, that brings it forwards and backwards. It doesn't necessarily adjust the angle of the dangle. So I'm going to try and push it back in, whack a penny washer on it, and then hopefully that will sort it out. Ready for the inverter. So the inverter, you just have this little plate and it just goes through into the top two screws. So you've got these little grub screws at the back here, underneath. Just want to pop these off because I don't want to scratch the front. And with this, just hooks on to the back.
Back to pull it from you, towards you, let it drop down. You go down there.
That's on, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
And then you see here, these little grub screws, they just retain it into place. And there's two on each side.
You want to adjust it a little bit. Get this first one right, and then at least everything will be level from there. Alright, so currently me and Luke have just finished this stack here. We've noticed that we're missing the top covers, so we're going to chase them up and see where they're at. Once Corey finishes that one, we can then work out where we can put a bit of trunking in between them. Once that's up, then we can mount all the isolators, Libbi controllers, few spurs, and we can just do some conduit drops up from this trunk in here. Until this bit's finished, we're just going to go round to the other room where the third Libbi's going. Start getting that one on the wall, and then that'll be all the batteries and inverters in place, and we can just work to them. Also, check out how much rubbish we've got.
I was just saying to the customer here, he's got two massive water tanks out there because he's got a ground source heat pump. This would be the prime candidate for the full MyEnergi home because he's already got the Zappy, he's already got 3 Libbis, so if he can use that as a thermal battery, he's absolutely laughing because he's generating like 140 kilowatts per day now. Kilowatt hours, sorry. I'm out of breath, Max. A little jump cut, seamless jump cut, yeah? Yeah, so he's generating about 140 kilowatt hours per day, which is a lot of power for a home. When you look at his consumption versus his export and generation graph, what you want to try to do is chop that distance so that he's not spiking his generation at night when the sun's not shining. So obviously batteries are going to flatten that. But if you can either adjust your behaviour or get technology like the Eddy, or if you're smart with like Home Assistant and that kind of thing to adjust it for you, then even better. It makes far more sense to have the power from your solar that's going to be exported, heating up your water in the daytime for you to then use at the night time and save your battery power for other stuff. Make it look nice.
That's it. It feels weird.
That's it?
Yeah. Feels weird, doesn't it?
Surely not.
Yeah, and the brackets here link them together underneath.
Do you think there'll be something a bit more...
Mate, finger tight.
Oh, what's this? That ain't from us.
No, it's like a ring.
It's like one of them.
Yeah. There's one here as well.
Like suction. Better get Corey to ring up old Geordie Brompt. Look how much wiggle.
And if you take that off, the bracket's dead level though.
That's the bracket solid. Look. It needs like a little
Top
bracket up there
top,
just to hold it.
Yeah.
And then a little cover over the top.
The trouble is, this has only come out last week. If I hadn't said it already 14,000 times, I don't know. So usually with this type of system, you can do Instagram #Libbi, and then you can see how other people have done it, and you can find a neat way of doing it. I think if we had the floor stands, it would lift it up enough that we could get trunk in to hide that cable, because we're going to have the comms cable and the 2 battery cables between these. You might be able to hide them in that gap, but I feel like still that is a bit janky, isn't it? I want to have some sort of trunk in. Maybe we could do it in Copex.
If we were saying a bit of tray across, but then you won't be able to open the door either. If you had a nice bit of tray.
If you got shallow tray, you might just get that in. Yeah, I think either some shallow tray or some Copex. I'm starving. I need to install a pasty warmer drawer in here so that the bottom row is just that. I need a transporter, but I'm not made of money. They're perfect. You can pop them out and put them on your stack, and they lock if you want. Mate, I like them. I actually paid for these as well, believe it or not. They were with real life Muller. They were. I paid money for them. They're not actually leather seats, they're £40 covers off eBay.
Premium covers.
Premium covers. Premium probably spelt wrong. But is your van insulated? Mine has got proper insulation. I winterised this because it was my camper van. So, yeah, eat that transporter boy. That's cool actually. That looks like something out of Predator. Wait, that's mad. That's pretty cool actually. My one needs gas. How does it do that?
It's a
just
spring.
electric.
It like pulls a spring back and then it hammers it.
That's mad. See if we can think of a neat way of doing this, because I feel just tucking them in is butchery, which is fine if you're a butcher, but I don't really tend to eat much meat nowadays. Yeah, that does go. I reckon that'll look nice. I feel like just having it on the floor. He's got mouse traps around as well. Should we use metric or should we use American Imperial? Metric, they can get in something the size of about 3 mil, I think. Or American Imperial, roughly the size of 4 eagle feathers. Okay, so we're ready to connect up the battery leads. These two literally link together, and then we're going to wire it up neutral to there. Sorry, I should stop saying that. Battery negative to battery negative. Wait to push until you hear the click. And then this terminal stays empty, so we're going to stick a little rubber bung in there. And then we're going to run from here round to the last battery. So we have a really long cable for that. So we'll tuck that in through this little gap around there. There we go. Behind there. Ow! Cameraman just stood on my finger for reference. Should we relocate the spider? There you go, off that way. Alrighty. And this is going to connect onto this. So for the positive, we've gone from the inverter to the furthest battery, which is up here, this terminal here, and then we'd linked all the way back. And then the negatives, we've just done normal basically. So go in the comments below and tell me what method of wiring that is. Why have we done that?
Right, so that's pos, neg, earths. So there's comms cables as well, aren't there?
Yeah, so the comms cables, there's no end crystal on it. That sounds like something out of Zelda.
Yeah.
The end crystal.
Oh, so these small ones must just link top to bottom.
I think these small ones do this here, look. See on the side here, inverter.
Yeah.
So the top comms one is left blank, so it says INV. And then up here on the inverter, back there, you can't see it, take my word for it.
So inverter into communication, that's the 300mm long.
You won't fit all of them through there, so if you...
Just on the photo, the diagram shows you.
Yeah, but that's only showing for...
Bringing all 3 through there.
I think that's if you had a floor mount, but we don't have a floor mount.
Yeah.
So take it through this one here,
out,
and you can lose the slack in the back, and then you'll fit the two, and then the comms can go down there.
Out.
Yeah, you push that button and then just... That's it.
These are so annoying to feed behind.
Anyone for a drink?
I'm alright. Actually, go on, I'll have a cup of tea, please.
It doesn't look good.
White we touch better.
Yeah, I've got white in my van. We're using that. I tried this trunk in between. I'll show you the dilemma left over from a job last week. And what's cool is if I sell it to Artisan, you'll have a 500% markup. What, sorry, did I say left over from a job? I just went and bought this from the wholesaler. I have the receipt. And I think this will actually look a lot better. I feel the galv between them just looks rubbish. It's like we're trying to get the industrial look, but it's against a... Oh, flipping it, let me jump. It's against a white Libbi. Looks a lot more subtle because you can't really get it any tighter before you start scratching them up. See, you want like a couple mil gap, but I think even with lid, it just looks a bit poor really. We're gonna have a cover on this, otherwise we could shoot straight through the back, but I don't know how the cover is because I've not seen one yet. And I've tried looking it up online and can't really get any measurements for it.
Yeah, boy!
This is terrifying. Mate, that worked a treat. That's bob on. That's a bit wonky, but other than that, it's bob on. The thing is, I've not actually used this before. I've got my own one. It's pretty naughty. I reckon this would be wicked for electricians, plumbers, and tattoo artists. Because if you wanted to pierce, you could literally do it in minutes. There's no, they're sterile. I got them straight out of the pack. Here, Max, hold still.
Can you imagine?
Bosh. Right, so we've got the trunking mounted, the conduit in, and the isolators on, and these battery tops have arrived. So let's have a little look at this one. It just covers all the little bits and pieces inside. Basically, it looks super nice, almost starting to look finished.
I take it we're having a Ethernet cable to each Libbi controller.
I think so, mate.
And then this one from upstairs to feed in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I'm just sticking a socket up here ready. So we're going to have this little network switch that can plug in. You can get that screwed around there somewhere. And then we've got this data cable which goes to the router upstairs in the customer's office, and then we can run 3 Ethernet cables down each conduit, and that's going to go straight to the Libbi controllers, so they'll be hardwired to the internet. And this is going to be the first point of our radial, so we've got a 2.5 SWA here, so we can come into here, and then from here in singles we can go down to a fuse spur to each Libbi controller, and that will need a 3 amp fuse in to supply them.
So I'm in the plant room here. It's literally just a mirror image of exactly the same side. Obviously they've got two units outside. This is just a single unit. So yeah, we've got the Libbi batteries installed in the inverter. Just mounting the trunk in, getting all the conduit drops in, the isolator, and the actual Libbi itself. And yeah, we'll just start running the cables in. So if I do that there, do we need another conduit drop?
I'd just do that. They're the same as round, because then we need a data drop there, and then every bay is exactly the same then.
I don't know where all the Sharpies go. But then to be fair, have you ever bought a Sharpie?
No.
Someone somewhere is buying Sharpies and they're getting sold off them. There's a hierarchy, there's a trickle-down economy of Sharpies where everyone underneath the top of the peak is stealing them. With metal, it's so unforgiving if you get the holes in the wrong place. It's good sometimes just to mark it exactly. I got this online off someone. If you know who you are, feel free to comment below, because I can't remember. I would give you credit if I remembered. and all you do is this. I've seen some people trying to sell a product that does this same thing, but oh my gosh, please don't buy it. Just do it with a Sharpie. There you go. Then you know exactly where the centre of your hole is for your bushes. Because the worst thing is when the holes don't quite line up, and it's quite hard to eyeball it sometimes. You're welcome. Now hopefully these should line up now nicely. I had one of those lovely bush socket things, the brocket, and it lasted me literally, how long?
About, you used it once, so about 20 seconds.
About 20 seconds. I bought it, just saw it on the counter at the wholesale, and I thought, oh, I've seen that on Instagram, that looks really good. Bought myself one, and then used it on that one job and left it inside the trunk, and that job is so far away. I'm like, is it worth going back there, spending 80 quid on fuel for me to have my £25 tool back? This kind of does the same thing, it's just a lot slower because it doesn't ratchet. When I think bush wrench, I think of like Mick Dundee turning it up. That's not a wrench, that's not a Sheila. Okay, so how I'm measuring these sets, this is probably teaching a lot of people to suck eggs, but for some people, they probably might not know. The way I'm generally doing it is I'm measuring the full distance. So in this case, 68.5, or let's just say 69. I'll do the full distance, but remember there's going to be a bush going in there and another bush going out there. So what I'll do, rather than take off half of a coupler, I'll do the full distance and I'll just minus one coupler off of it. So let me show you. So we go 69 minus one coupler will take us to there. So then I'll give that a mark.
You get the job tomorrow?
That doesn't work, but just imagine there's a mark there. Can we CGI a mark onto that, please? Thank you. And then we'll cut it. And it's really important when you're using a vise like this to thread conduit, make sure it's really tight, because it's the worst thing is when it spins inside of the vise.
Like this, hence why I'm going to cut it again.
Yeah, there you go. That is when you don't tighten it up enough. Go. That's what you want. Millimeter perfect. It's not too tight, but it's also, you can actually install it.
Just running these data cables from the network switch around to the Libbi controllers, and it's just good to keep some of these little rubber inserts in the van. They push, if you take the top of your stuffing gland off, that pushes inside, that goes back over, and then you get a nice seal around your cable. So I'm just going to stick these in and then get the RJ45s done up here.
Someone's put a coffee on it, or you don't know it was that. It could have been a pony that had a wet foot and rested. Look, you can see the hoof a little bit there, or one of them half horse, half men.
Make it stick, man. I reckon that's the head.
That's funny. You're very mature that you see that, and your first thing to draw on it is a stick man. You've come a long way.
We'll place in bets on where the drill is going to come out.
I reckon. There we go. Oh, sorry, it's not Jordan drilling.
Do a different shape. I'm X, he's plus. Do a Pac-Man.
Yeah. How big is that drill bit?
Hey, that's good though.
Dear me, he might as well have done that from his van. Miles.
We're all lost.
Okay, so we're at the point now of wiring it, which is a very good place to be. So you've got the Libbi controller here. So this just needs a network connection, an RS485 connection, of which we are using 2 pairs. It will need the CT connection to one of these, and also a little 3 amp power supply circuit. So that comes off of this. So it's going to come into the Libbi controller and out, into the next Libbi controller, out and into the final Libbi controller. So that is its own separate circuit. And then we have the actual supply going down here. Let's quickly run that in. I'll show you it. So we've got the 6mm supply coming in through an isolator, an AC isolator. We're not using the MPPT on this. So this is an inverter and a battery system. So you can either use it as a DC coupled battery, meaning that it will charge directly off of the excess DC from the solar panels, or it can be an AC coupled battery, meaning that it will connect into your AC system and it will use the inverter purely just to operate that. You have the on-grid setting here. So this is what the power is going to plug into. So you actually have to wire up this lead. So this has the option to be an EPS, not a UPS. This will not kick in within 40 milliseconds. So it's considered an EPS, like an emergency power supply. So if the power went down, then it will kick in and can run your Wi-Fi and pull up fridge and whatever else you want, or lights, or your fridge light. And in my house, that probably would effectively be a light because I'm a fat slob, so my fridge is open all the time. Switch on the Libbi controllers. Should we do one at a time? Right, so the time has come now to pair them up and configure them. Now there's already a MyEnergi network in place, as you can see from the hub that is here. So what's important, before you try and pair any other MyEnergi devices to that Libbi, they need to be up to date. At the minute, the latest version is version 5.0. I think the Zappi is currently on like version 3. So we're gonna repair it, do a quick update. Basically within the MyEnergi network, you can only have up to 8 devices. I would rather delete the hub out, get rid of this from his office, and use the V hub, which is the internal hub inside the Libbi, to control all of the MyEnergi network now. So we're going to delete all of the devices, reset them, do a firmware update, repair them to the Libbi. Shouldn't have any issues.
Did you have to set the V hub?
Yeah, so I've set V hub on that one, so don't set the V hub on this one. That one is the master and the V hub. I'm just in the process of deleting the other one out.
All right, guys, you may have noticed that I've got a new van. This one's called Bruce. Terry's gone to the scrapyard in the Sky. As well as having a new van, we've been helped out by Yoke Vans, and they've racked the van out. Let me show you. Right, so you can see I've got the raised floor, so I've got an armour guard there to keep my tools safe that pulls out just underneath. I've got the steps that can slide underneath here, and all of these little Euro boxes pull out. Not quite got it all sussed out, but I'll show you as I progress. Got some storage on this side, some essential bits and bobs. We're hoping to, because you can fully adjust these shelves, so they all come out, so you can adjust them to your different screw trays and what have you. And they also done all of this to make it look even bougier, and so when I scrape my head, it's not so painful. So all of these can be completely adjusted. So you see these little slots, so you can adjust them to suit. So if you've got bigger items, so I've moved them to hold some of my bigger items, and everything fits and it's plug and play. It's really good stuff. A massive thanks to Yoke Vans for kitting out this van.
configuring. I'm reading the instruction manual.
Support.myenergi.com.
Okay.
Yes, I think so, yeah. I can't see that third Libbi that you just described the serial number. I can't see that at all.
I think they might have switched off. To be honest with you, we've had too many cooks in here. We've had everyone.
I think so.
Yeah, we've had one
Nick.
person trying to fix the Zappy, one person, so they've gone home now, and I'm going to stay here until it's on. Okay, so we're just pairing up all of the Libbis now, and got some teething issues because there's an existing MyEnergi network in place. So we've got a couple of different hubs because there's the 8 device limit. And all of these Libbis have V hubs in. However, one of the great things with MyEnergi, obviously, is they actually answer the phone because they're based in the UK. In Grimsby, is that right, Darren?
It is in Stallingborough, near Grimsby.
There we go. So we've got Darren on the phone who's very kindly talking us through this, so just bear with me. Okay, so we're going to use this then as the master device. This is Libbi.
It's going to be the master device. That's going to work perfectly. So what we've got for the CTs in there. So let's go into the advanced menu, into CT config, please, if you can.
Well, they're one on each phase.
There is, but this is actually a single phase. So it's only measuring single phase bits on there.
All right then.
Single phase one. The 3-phase information is going to come from the Zappy. So we'll leave it on single phase.
Single phase. They're all switched off.
That's it. So you set that CT1 to none of you.
CT1 none, CT2 none, CT3 none.
Okay, perfect.
You asked me
so let's go to the Zappy now.
Yeah, I'm at the Zappy now.
We're going to go into the menu, down to all the settings, please, and then down to advanced. Does set master have a tick next to it?
No.
Okay, so let's get a pairing ready. It should say searching for master on channel.
Okay, yeah. Do you want me to set the Libbi to pairing as well?
Yeah, let's do it, mate. There we go. We've got a Zappy, we've got green light on that, we've got a green light on Libbi. Look at that. You should have some... Have we got some grid readings on here now? Let's have a little looky-likey. We've got some extra... We've got 1 phase of solar on this property, or is it 3 phase?
I believe there should be 3 phases of solar. It's a big old field-mounted array. So okay, so we've got the system up and running, kind of. You can see the AC battery in there. That is the pure drive one. That's up and running. We've got readings coming from the generation. At the minute, nothing's coming from the grid. Obviously, they've got a huge solar array out there. And we've got 2 out of 3 of the Labbis. Don't make a joke. We're not going on tangents, Max, are we? No tangents. We've got 2 out of the 3. The controller isn't working. Now, is that annoying? Yes, of course that is annoying. I wanted to finish and go home early because I'm subcontracting today and I should have been home like 2 hours ago. This one in here is working fine and the one on the other side of the wall is working fine. But it's just the controller. However, teething problems, it's a new product. What else do you expect, really? The one thing that I am very impressed with is I called MyEnergi. They picked up very quickly and they stayed on the phone past their closing time. In fact, way past their closing time. Big up Darren. And they very helpfully and kindly talked me through the whole system. I know that I had a problem with this battery the other day. It was another little thing just while I was here that the customer asked me to look at, and I had absolutely no success calling up the company. So that's kind of the difference. You think, what are you paying for? Even though that is slightly annoying, I'm still very impressed and I think it looks awesome. For the water tank, I definitely recommend they use this as thermal storage. So you see this down here, this is a immersion heater. You can chop into this and have this basically monitor the excess solar. So as soon as it sees anything diverting, it can put it into the car. The car's full, okay, put it into the Libbi. Oh, the Libbi's full, well then start heating up the water. And there's actually a calculation for that. We're gonna go to the van of dreams and we're gonna do the calculation. Oh, I've got whiteboard markers in here somewhere. Here they are. Welcome to the van of dreams. That doesn't sound good, does it, with a white van and a mustache? Welcome to the van of dreams. Where? Oh, mate, my van is filthy. It looks clean. The filthy van of dreams. Oh, no, that's really not helping. It's not filthy anymore, Max. Welcome to the filthy van of dreams, or the VOD, where all your educational needs are met. Now, there is a calculation for hot water thermal storage. I only know this to the geeks of Instagram or the geeks of the internet. I don't know how I know this, but somehow I do. Okay, so the calculation you need is the volume of the tank times 4 times the temperature rise. My sporadic use of capital letters probably makes some people uncomfortable. Divided by 3412, and that will equal your power required. Let's put that in a working situation. Say you have a 125 litre tank. yes? That would be 125, and you want to go from 65 degrees from 10 degrees. That would then make it 125 times 4 times 55, because that is the temperature rise, 55 degrees, divided by 3412. Just have your calculator. That will bring you to 8,000 watts, or 8 kilowatts. So basically that is the energy that would be required basically to heat up that water. When you consider that in terms of pence per unit, in terms of right now looking at like 35 odd p per unit, you can save a serious amount of energy by heating up your water with your excess solar power, especially if you haven't got gas in the property. And I know a lot of countries and viewers that watch this, they probably don't have mains gas like what we have here in the UK, because they like their homes not exploding, or when their homes explode they like not taking out the whole street with them. Oh dear, that is my wife that is calling me. I really should go and stop drawing on my van. Let's conclude this video. Sorry for the poor transition. I hope Nathan just did a hard cut. We've still got a cameraman in training. The other slight issue we have to comply with G100, I'm hoping that is gone in the end of May. We have to hardwire our CTs to here, so we need to run a Cat 5. Now, apparently that is going at the end of May, so there's a good chance we don't have to do it for that reason. However, we still need to do it anyways, because we've reached the device limit because of the amount of Harveys on there. The other slight issue is that the Harveys only operate up to 60 amps, and we want to make sure that not all of this, although they're only 5 kilowatts a phase, we've got a lot of other inverters on there. We want to make sure that that's not all going to export at the same time. In the situation that it did export, it would very easily blow the 100 amp fuse the wrong way. So that has got to be set up just as a safety measure. And so that we have space to add this extra Libbi on, we're going to have to hardwire the CTs anyway. So whenever the guys come back, maybe it'll be a video, maybe it won't be, who knows. They're going to swap that controller out, hardwire the CTs, and this will be done. But for now, he has 2 Libbis working, the Zappy up and running. Thank you for watching, see you next time.